started. Yes, first question. Um, can you share your journey into software engineering and how you progressed into the management role? I know you mentioned, uh, you started out and then you're happy that you kind of built your way up into a management position. How did that journey and process look like for you?
Sure, absolutely. So when I started my journey, actually, I joined as a QA analyst, a quality analyst, or you can call it a software testing engineer. Um, so right after I joined, what I found out is I'm being completely authentic here and being upfront and honest. I didn't find it very challenging. So I remember when I first joined, when I got to meet the team, and if any of you find a job, you'll get to meet your team, you will get to know your environment around you and all. Um, and again, obviously, the different people have a different level of interest and all. So one of my key interest or satisfaction or enjoyment from work is I would like to get recognized and acknowledged. I guess it's a human trait to a large extent, and uh, and then also I find things that are challenging and rewarding. So yes, the testing is something can be very enjoyable. Like you're finding the problem, you're finding the areas that need to be improved or need to be fixed or corrected because there is wide a spectrum of areas that could be wrong. And that begins with the requirements in itself. Like, what are you trying to build in itself, correct? Or there may be different way to solve the problem. Uh, but then again, if you say the intent is correct, then the actual behavior may be also incorrect, right? So there is a wide spectrum. But it gets to a point where you cannot build itself, right? It's like, hey, you build or you go to a house, you test it, but then the framework that's given to test it. But what if you do not like the framework itself? Like the way the house is built, the rooms, the structure, design, right? So you may not like that. Again, so then you feel like, hey, you know what? I don't like this house at all. I want to build the house the way I would like, right? And that's with that comes like changing the career and goal or approach. So I'm like, I'm gonna be a builder, which is a developer, an engineer. I'd like to develop myself, and that's how I became actually an engineer. And I had a conversation with one of my managers one day. Been enjoying these. I know I'm doing it great, but I want to do this. So, and he got me introduced to a couple of the people within the organization, and I started talking to them, set up meeting with them, and then I started. They recommended me some trainings and classes. Search. There are a lot of research tools now, but there is to be a lot at that time too. Obviously, there is way more now. So many AI tools and all. So I took classes whenever I had an opportunity in the evening. I used to study and practice. And then I applied for a role within the organization to become an engineer. So that's my evolution from becoming a testing engineer to actually a software engineer. Now, within that engineering role, so again, things continuously evolve. Like say, hey, now you were a builder, but then you feel like, hey, there's a lead builder, a designer who is telling you how to build. So that's again, it's a search for being able to do things independently and freely. And I was like, I need more autonomy. I need more freedom. I want like have a say around the building of the entire house, not just a room. or a block of the house. That's how I became a manager. And initially, I was hesitant to become a people lead, even though I was a technical lead for quite a bit of time. And my fear was, there was actually a fear element. The fear was, hey, what if I lose hands-on or technical capabilities? Because if I have less and less hands-on in the actual things, I will lose my skill. And then if I lose my skill and I lose my job, reason, because a lot of times management position could be eliminated, typically. But then what I'm going to do, right? I was worried about again, there shouldn't be a fear. I'm explaining myself. There was a fear. So I was hesitant. But then what I realized that, that we could always be a balance between what you know and what you learn and how you contribute, or you show others, and by showing others how to do things, you can actually achieve more. And I found satisfaction there. And that's how I became a manager. So I lead a team now. And we have multiple other teams that I have influence on in terms of our technical strategy direction, and vision. Obviously, I'm not in a very higher management, but still, we have more leverage on how things are done. So this is
Wow.
how I evolved.
Awesome. It's so I guess everyone can understand that you were always very driven. That was unique to you. You gained all this wide ranges of experiences across different roles. And a big part of why you made it to the management positions or position you are in right now is because you were always driven. Over the course of your journey, you had these exposures and experiences that gave you more, I guess, skills and understanding of how the house, as you mentioned, works. And then now you were driven enough to get to the part where you're looking after the house. So that's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
think Mr. Shiblu had a follow-up question.
Sure.